Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Western Flavors. Today, we have a powerful episode about one of parenting's most insidious traps, the moment when your own values and standards, meant to inspire excellence, accidentally crush joy and create perfectionism instead. For Amy Fleming Borden, who has spent her entire life pursuing excellence with horses and building a reputation as one of the best trainers in Alberta, passing on those values to her daughter seems natural and right. But what happens when a 5-year-old internalizes be the best as anything less than perfect is failure. This episode takes place during season 15, when Lyndy is 5 years old and just beginning her journey with horses, a journey that should be filled with joy and discovery, but instead becomes poisoned by pressure and fear of failure. If you're enjoying this series, please hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a chapter. Today's episode is about the difference between excellence and perfectionism, about how our words shape our children's self-worth, and about learning that loving something matters infinitely more than being the best at it. Let's dive in. The horse show was one of those perfect Alberta summer days: blue sky, warm sun, families gathered around the arena watching young riders compete. Amy and Ty had brought Lyndy to watch her cousin Katie compete in the junior jumping division. At 15, Katie was an accomplished rider, confident and skilled, the kind of young equestrian everyone admired. Lyndy sat on the fence, her eyes huge as she watched Katie navigate the course. Every jump was clean, every turn precise, every movement fluid and controlled. When Katie finished with a clear round and the fastest time, the crowd erupted in applause. Lyndy turned to Amy, her 5-year-old face glowing with excitement, and something else, a hunger that Amy recognized because she'd felt it herself at that age. "Mama, I want to be like Katie. I want to be the best rider." Amy felt pride surge through her. Of course her daughter wanted to excel. Of course she had that competitive spirit, that drive for excellence. It was in her blood. Fleming women were horsewomen, and horsewomen were the best at what they did.
You can be, sweetheart, with practice and dedication. You can be as good as Katie, maybe even better.
Ty shot Amy a look that suggested caution, but Amy missed it too, caught up in her daughter's enthusiasm. Over the next week, Lyndy's interest in riding intensified into something that looked like obsession. She wanted lessons every day, wanted to practice until she got everything perfect, became frustrated and tearful when she couldn't immediately execute what Amy demonstrated. Amy found herself coaching Lyndy with the same intensity she used with client horses. She set up training exercises, created structured lessons, talked about technique and precision and excellence. Lyndy absorbed it all like a sponge, but something was shifting in her relationship with horses. The pure joy was being replaced by grim determination.
She's 5. Maybe we should ease up a bit?
She's a natural. Why should we hold her back? If she has talent, we should nurture it.
There's a difference between nurturing talent and creating pressure.
I'm not creating pressure. I'm creating excellence.
But Ty's words lingered, uncomfortable and unwelcome. 2 weeks after the horse show, Amy was giving Lyndy a lesson in the round pen. They were working on basic posting, trot sitting, standing, finding rhythm. It was fundamental, simple, something that took time to learn naturally. Lyndy was getting frustrated. She kept standing at the wrong time, losing her balance, gripping with her legs too tight. Each mistake made her more tense, which made the next attempt worse. After the 4th try, Lyndy stopped the pony and burst into tears. "I can't do it. I'm bad at riding. I'll never be like Katie."
You're not bad. You're learning. It takes time.
"But I want to be good now. I want to be the best." The desperation in her daughter's voice should have been a warning. But Amy, still seeing it through the lens of healthy ambition, pushed forward.
Then you have to practice more. The best riders work the hardest. That's what makes them the best.
Lyndy wiped her tears and tried again, her small face set with determination that looked too adult, too serious for a 5-year-old learning to ride. That evening, Lou stopped by and found Lyndy watching YouTube videos of professional riders, taking notes in a child's scrawl.
"What are you doing, kiddo?"
"Studying, so I can be the best. Mama says the best riders work the hardest." Lou found Amy in the barn.
"She's 5 years old and she's studying riding videos. Does that seem healthy to you?"
She's driven. She has goals. That's a good thing.
"She's anxious. There's a difference between driven and anxious. I've seen that look before, Amy. That's the look of a kid who thinks her worth depends on her performance."
That's not what I'm teaching her.
Maybe not intentionally, but what message is she receiving?
The breaking point came during a lesson 3 days later. Amy had set up a simple ground pole exercise walk over a pole on the ground, basic coordination practice. Lyndy had done it successfully twice. Then on the third attempt, the pony stepped on the pole, knocking it askew. Lyndy's reaction was immediate and devastating. She stopped the pony, slid off, and collapsed on the ground, crying so hard she couldn't breathe. Not the frustrated tears of a child who made a mistake, but the deep, wrenching sobs of someone whose entire world had shattered.
Lyndy, what's wrong? It's just a pole. The pony bumped it. That happens sometimes.
I did it wrong. I'm supposed to be perfect. I'm supposed to be the best. She was hyperventilating now, her small body shaking with the force of her crying. Amy knelt beside her, trying to comfort her, but nothing helped. Lyndy was inconsolable, locked in a spiral of self-criticism that seemed far too developed for a 5-year-old. Ty appeared, having heard the commotion, and picked Lyndy up, carrying her to the barn to calm down. He looked at Amy over their daughter's head, and his expression said everything. "This is what I was warning you about." That evening, after Lyndy was finally calm and asleep, Amy sat in the loft staring at nothing. Ty sat beside her, not speaking, just being present.
I don't understand. I just wanted her to be good, to have goals, to strive for excellence like I did.
Did you strive for excellence? Or did you love horses so much that excellence came naturally?
The question hit like a physical blow.
When you were 5, were you crying because you weren't perfect? Or were you laughing because riding was the best thing in the world?
I was having fun. I loved it. I didn't start being serious about excellence until I was older.
So why are we putting that pressure on Lyndy now? She's 5. She should be having fun, not studying videos and crying when she makes mistakes.
I just wanted to pass on what Marion taught me about being the best, about excellence, about the Fleming legacy.
Marion taught you to love horses. The excellence came from that love, not the other way around.
The next morning, a client arrived with a 4-year-old gelding named Apollo. The owner, a well-meaning but intense woman named Sarah, explained the situation. He's incredibly talented, natural jumper, perfect conformation, amazing movement. But he's not happy. He works, but there's no joy in it. My trainer says he's just sulky, needs more discipline, but I thought maybe you could help. Amy watched Apollo in the round pen. Sarah was right, the horse was talented, moved beautifully, had all the physical tools for success. But his eyes were dull, his ears back, his entire body language radiating stress and anxiety. When Amy asked him to trot, he obeyed immediately but looked miserable doing it.
Tell me about his training history.
I've had him since he was a yearling. Started him professionally at 2, been training intensively since then. He's competed, won ribbons. But lately, he's resistant. Doesn't want to work. Acts like he hates it.
What does a typical day look like for him?
Training in the morning groundwork, riding, exercises. Afternoon is usually more training or turnout if he's earned it. Evening grain if he worked well that day. Amy felt something cold settle in her stomach.
So his food is conditional on performance? His freedom is conditional on working well?
My trainer said horses need structure and discipline to excel.
What they need is to love what they're doing. This horse doesn't love it. He's performing out of obligation and fear, not joy. You've trained all the happiness out of him.
Sarah looked offended, but before she could respond, Amy saw herself reflected in this well-meaning owner who'd pushed too hard too young, who'd prioritized achievement over enjoyment, who'd created a talented but miserable athlete instead of a happy partner. She was doing the same thing to Lyndy. The realization hit so hard Amy had to sit down on a hay bale, her legs suddenly unable to support her. All the pieces fell into place: Lyndy's tears, her anxiety about being perfect, her statement that she wanted to be the best before she'd even learned to enjoy being on a horse.
I need to make a phone call. Can you give me a minute?
She walked away from Sarah, pulled out her phone, and called Lou.
You were right. I created this. I took a 5-year-old who loved horses, and I'm turning her into an anxious perfectionist who thinks her worth depends on being the best. I'm doing to Lyndy what that owner did to Apollo. I'm training all the joy out of her.
That afternoon, Amy found Lyndy in her room, drawing, But instead of the happy, colorful pictures she used to draw, Lyndy was creating meticulous diagrams of riding positions, copying what she'd seen in videos.
Hey, sweetie, want to go for a ride?
Can we practice posting? I need to get better.
Actually, I was thinking we'd just go for a trail ride. No lessons. No practice. Just you and me and the horses. Having fun.
Lyndy looked confused, like she'd forgotten that riding could be just fun. But I need to practice if I'm going to be the best.
Lyndy, can I tell you something? Being the best doesn't matter nearly as much as loving what you do. I'd rather you be an okay rider who loves horses than the best rider who's miserable.
But you said I should be the best. You said Fleming women are the best. Amy felt her heart break, hearing her own words reflected back at her.
I was wrong. Or maybe I said it wrong. Fleming women love horses more than anything. That's what makes us special. Not being the best, but loving them so much that we work hard because we want to, not because we have to.
She knelt down to Lyndy's level.
When I was your age, you know what I did? I rode bareback through the fields, pretending I was a cowgirl. I fell off constantly. I made mistakes all the time. And I laughed and got back on because riding was the most fun thing in the world. I didn't start worrying about being the best until I was much older.
Really? You made mistakes?
So many mistakes. Want to see?
Amy pulled out her laptop and found old videos Jack had digitized years ago, videos of young Amy, maybe 7 or 8, riding around Heartland. In the videos, Amy fell off, laughed, got back on. She made her horse go too fast, then couldn't stop him and ended up in a heap of giggles. She tried to jump a log, knocked the rails down, and just shrugged and tried again. Lyndy watched with wide eyes, like she was seeing a completely different version of her mother, one who wasn't perfect, wasn't serious, was just having fun. You weren't the best?
Not when I was little. I was just a kid who loved horses. That's all you need to be right now. A kid who loves horses. The rest comes later, if you want it, but only if it makes you happy.
They went on that trail ride, no agenda, no lessons, no goals. Just Amy and Lyndy on gentle horses, walking through Heartland's trails in the afternoon sun. They talked about everything except riding technique. They sang songs. They stopped to look at birds. They let the horses drink from the creek and splash water at each other. For the first time in weeks, Lyndy laughed, really laughed while on a horse.
This is what riding should feel like. Like this. Happy.
Can we do this again tomorrow, without practice?
We can do this every day if you want. And when you do practice, it should be because you want to learn something new, not because you're afraid of not being perfect.
That evening, Amy gathered the family in the living room, tea, Jack, Lou, even Katie, who'd come for dinner.
I need to apologize. To all of you. But especially to Lyndy. I've been pushing her too hard, putting too much pressure on her, making her think that being the best matters more than being happy. That's not what I meant to teach, but it's what I taught.
She looked at her daughter.
Lyndy, you don't have to be the best rider. You don't have to be like Katie or like me or like anyone else. You just have to be you. And if you love horses, that's enough. If you want to be great someday, we'll work on it together. But only if you want to. And only if it's fun. Deal?
Lyndy nodded, her face relaxing for the first time in weeks. For what it's worth, Aunt Amy, I wasn't trying to be the best when I was Lyndy's age either. I was just having fun. The competing came later because I wanted it, not because anyone pushed me. Lou added quietly.
Remember when I tried to make Katie do competitive piano? And she was miserable until I let her quit and just play for fun? Same principle.
Jack's weathered voice carried across the room.
Marion used to say that the best riders are the ones who never forget that horses are magic. The moment you turn them into work, into obligation, into something you have to be perfect at, you lose the magic. Keep the magic, Lyndy. Everything else is just details.
Over the next week, Amy completely restructured how she approached riding with Lyndy. No more formal lessons, no more drills and exercises, just playing with horses, grooming them, feeding them carrots, riding bareback around the pasture with no agenda. Letting Lyndy set the pace, choose the activities, define what riding meant to her. Apollo, the overtrained gelding, went through a similar transformation. Amy sent him home with instructions, no training for a month. Just turn him out. Let him be a horse. Let him remember that life could be enjoyable without constant pressure to perform. Sarah was skeptical but agreed. 2 weeks later, Amy gave Lyndy a formal lesson, the first since the shift. They worked on posting trot again, the same exercise that had ended in tears before. This time, when Lyndy made a mistake, stood up at the wrong time, lost her balance, had to grab the saddle, her reaction was completely different. She laughed. Oops, that wasn't right. Let me try again. No tears, no devastation. No sense that her worth as a person depended on executing this skill perfectly. Just a kid making a mistake, learning from it, trying again because she wanted to get better, not because she was afraid of being inadequate. Amy watched from the center of the round pen, tears streaming down her face, but these were happy tears, relief tears, grateful tears. She'd caught this early enough. She'd seen the problem and changed course before the damage became permanent. After the lesson, Lyndy dismounted and threw her arms around the pony's neck. I love riding, Mama. It's so fun.
That's all that matters, sweetheart. That right there. The love.
3 weeks later, Sarah returned with Apollo for a follow-up visit. The horse that stepped out of the trailer was transformed, bright-eyed, curious, ears forward, actually interested in his surroundings. Sarah looked amazed. I don't know what happened, but he's like a different horse. He nickers when he sees me coming. He plays in turnout. He seems happy.
He remembered that life can be good, that being a horse isn't all about work and performance. Now when you ask him to work, it'll come from a different place, not obligation, but partnership.
I owe you an apology, and him an apology. I pushed too hard too young.
I understand that better than you know. I almost did the same thing to my daughter. Thankfully, I caught it in time.
That evening, the family gathered for dinner, a chaotic, loud affair with Lyndy telling elaborate stories about her day, Jack teasing her, Katie teaching her card tricks, everyone laughing and talking over each other. After Lyndy was in bed, Amy and Ty sat on the porch watching stars emerge in the darkening sky.
You did good. Catching that, changing course. Not every parent would have been willing to see it.
I almost ruined her relationship with horses before it really began. All because I confused excellence with perfectionism, confused high standards with crushing pressure.
But you didn't ruin it. You saved it. That's what matters.
She's 5 years old. She should be having fun, making mistakes, falling off and getting back on, because riding is an adventure, not a test. I forgot that somewhere along the way.
You remembered. That's the important part.
Jack's voice came from the doorway where he'd been listening.
Your mother went through something similar with you, you know. When you were about Lyndy's age, she started pushing you hard because she wanted you to be great. Then one day she watched you cry because you couldn't make a horse do something perfectly, and she realized she was taking all the joy out of it. She backed way off, let you just play and explore. Didn't get serious about training until you asked for it at age 10.
I didn't know that.
Marion said it was the best decision she ever made, because when you finally did start training seriously, it came from you, from your love, not her pressure. Made all the difference.
Amy felt the weight of that history, the pattern she'd almost repeated, and the grace of catching it before permanent damage was done. 4 months later, Lyndy approached Amy with a request. Mama, can we do some harder riding, like jumps? Small ones.
Do you want to? Or do you think you should?
I want to. It looks fun. Katie showed me videos and it looks like flying. The difference in that request, it looks fun instead of I want to be the best, was everything. They started small, tiny ground pulls, then cross rails, then small jumps. Lyndy made mistakes constantly, knocked rails down, fell off twice. Each time she got up laughing, eager to try again, seeing failure as part of the adventure rather than evidence of inadequacy. One evening, Katie came to watch Lyndy practice. Afterward, she pulled Amy aside. She's going to be good, really good. But more importantly, she loves it. You can see it in everything she does. That's the foundation that matters.
I almost took that from her, almost made her hate it before she really began.
But you didn't. You recognized it and changed. That's what good parents do. They catch their mistakes and fix them. The final scene of this chapter in their journey came on a Saturday afternoon. Lyndy was practicing in the round pen, attempting a small jump. She approached too fast, the pony refused, and Lyndy went flying over his shoulder, landing in a perfect demonstration of why horses wear protective gear. Amy's heart stopped. She started to run toward her daughter, but before she could reach her, Lyndy sat up, looked around to make sure everyone saw her spectacular fall, and burst out laughing. "Did you see that? I went flying. That was awesome. Can I try again?" Amy stopped running, stopped panicking, and started laughing too. Because that reaction, finding joy even in failure, seeing the adventure in the mistake, being eager to try again without fear, that was exactly what childhood should look like. That was the magic Jack had talked about, and they'd managed to keep it. That concludes today's episode of Heartland. What started as innocent encouragement, Amy wanting Lyndy to excel at riding, accidentally transformed into crushing pressure that nearly destroyed a 5-year-old's love of horses before it really began. Amy's journey from pushing for excellence to recognizing she'd created perfectionism is a cautionary tale every parent needs to hear. The parallel with Apollo, the overtrained gelding, gave Amy the mirror she needed to see what she was doing to Lyndy. Both were talented, both were capable, but both had lost all joy in something that should have been wonderful. Performance had replaced passion, obligation had replaced love, and fear of failure had replaced the freedom to explore and learn. Amy's willingness to see herself clearly, to accept Lou and Ty's feedback, and to completely change her approach saved Lyndy's relationship with horses and probably saved her daughter from years of anxiety and perfectionism. The transformation from Lyndy crying over a bumped pole to Lyndy laughing after being thrown from a horse shows the profound impact of changing from be perfect to have fun. Perfectionism kills joy. There's a crucial difference between healthy striving for excellence and crushing perfectionism. Excellence comes from love and passion. You work hard because you love something so much you want to be good at it. Perfectionism comes from fear. You work hard because you're terrified of being inadequate. Amy accidentally taught, kids should learn to love it before learning to excel at it. Amy forgot that she spent years just playing with horses before she ever worried about being good at riding. That foundation of pure love and joy is what made her excellent later. Skipping that foundation and jumping straight to pressure and performance creates anxious performers, not passionate horsewomen. The words we use shape how children see themselves. Amy's well-meaning statements about being the best and working the hardest landed on Lyndy as pressure and expectation. We have to be so careful about the messages we send because children take our words literally and internalize them in ways we don't intend. Mistakes should be adventures, not catastrophes. The difference between Lyndy crying over a bumped pole and laughing after being thrown is everything. When children see mistakes as learning opportunities and adventures rather than evidence of failure, they become resilient, brave, willing to try new things. That mindset is worth more than any ribbon or achievement. Love matters more than achievement. Jack's wisdom about keeping the magic, about remembering that horses are wonderful, and that relationship matters more than ribbons captured the heart of this lesson. When love is the foundation, achievement might follow naturally, but when achievement is the foundation, love gets crushed under the weight of expectations. Thank you for joining us for this important episode about the difference between encouraging excellence and creating perfectionism. Amy's mistake is one that so many parents make with the best of intentions, and her willingness to see it and change course is what saved her daughter from years of anxiety. If you're a parent pushing your child to excel at sports, academics, music, or anything else, please ask yourself, is my child driven by love or by fear? Are they working hard because they love it, or because they're afraid of disappointing you? The answer to that question matters more than any achievement or accolade. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and tell us in the comments, have you ever caught yourself putting too much pressure on your child? How did you recognize it, and what did you change? We'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, this is Western Flavors.